About 1/3 into the last third. This cigar needs some time. Definitely for this last third anyway. Pretty good all the way up to here. And now that it's just starting to seem a bit muddled. A lot of spice kicking back. A lot of spice and leather. Yeah, there we go. Actually starting to seem very strong all of a sudden at this last end. Put it down. Anyway, viewer emails. Viewer emails. Let me get a puff before we start. A lot of spice coming back. Spice and leather. Salt, good amount of salt. Sweet notes are starting to subside. A little bit of cedar left. The cigar seems like it's getting fairly strong toward the end. Anyway. Let's go. Cat and Crumb. This may sound really weird, but I find Dr. Pepper pairs really well with my cigars. Dr. Pepper pairs. Dr. Pepper pairs. Dr. Pepper pairs. I find it doesn't cover up any flavors and sometimes helps me pull out slight nuanced flavors I don't get without the drink. Weird, I know, but it works for me. It's not weird. I drink Diet Coke. Not when I'm doing reviews, but that is one of my favorite things to pair with cigars. Anytime I'm going to the lounge or whatever, sitting around the house, anywhere really, if I want something to drink, I grab a Diet Coke. Why? Of all the things I've drank with cigars, I find that it really has very little effect on covering up flavors. I think it has something to do with two reasons. A, there's no real sugar in it. In fact, there's nothing in it except, carbon water and some flavoring, artificial flavoring. There's no calories, there's no real stuff in it. There's no real sugar in it. Cigars and things that happen chemically in cigars that create good flavors are sugars. Sugars are actually created when tannins break down. And because that's fake sugar, Diet Coke, Dr. Pepper, Diet Dr. Pepper, I don't think it interferes with it. If I'm drinking Diet Coke with a sweeter cigar, I taste plenty of sweet notes. No problem. And it definitely amplifies any cigar that's really salty or whatever. I wouldn't drink it during a review only for the reason regarding the last part of your statement. It helps me pull out nuanced flavors I don't get without the drink. How do you know it's not the drink mixing with the cigar that's actually causing those flavors? You know what I mean? It might not be. You might be right on, you might be dead on. However, I just wouldn't want to mix. I want a review to be blank. There has to be a control to it. Because some people might not be drinking Diet Coke. Some people might be drinking whatever while, they're smoking the same exact cigar. But I need a controlled thing, a controlled environment basically, saying that this is what this cigar tastes like to me, adding nothing. So that's why I choose not to do reviews with. This brings back some bad memories all of a sudden. Not too long ago we had a big fucking fight about this. And I am going to say now what I was trying to say during that fight. Was anyone actually reading the fucking words I wrote? And they kept using the word subjective, subjective, opinion, opinion. Whatever you want to drink is fine with me. I am not God. I am not some fucking cigar king. I could care less what you drink. You're not doing a review. Drink mud for all I care. I'm saying that it's not a good practice to mix drinks while rating a cigar. You can do a pairing, but a pairing is not a review. You'll say, this is a pairing. We're pairing a San Cristobal de la Habana Torreon with Johnny Walker Blue on the Rocks. I don't care. And that's a pairing. And then you can say the cigar went well or the cigar went bad. But you can't say the cigar was great or the cigar was terrible solo, because you don't know how much of an effect the drink had on the flavors of the cigar. I hope people are understanding that. So while it is definitely subjective opinion on should you drink with cigars, what should you drink with cigars, of course that's an opinion. But what's not an opinion is that what you drink can change the flavor you get from a cigar. That is a fact. So therefore, I choose not to drink anything during a review. You never see a glass of anything here with me. Once in a while, I don't want this to go out. Once in a while, if I get really thirsty from talking, I'll have some water. That's about it. But hey, that's great. You know, like I said, when I go to the lounge or I'm out and I'm smoking a cigar anywhere and I want something to drink and I'm not doing a review, I grab a Diet Coke. That's me. Let's get to the next one. Let me just touch this up, make sure this thing is lit. Because if it goes out at this point, see, this is what I do not like to do during a review. And that's getting hot. Spicy now. Guy Fidelity. I feel for you Americans, it's really easy to spot a fake box in Canada. You Americans. Well, you Canadians wouldn't know anything about fake boxes because you don't have to deal with them, do you? No, I'm just kidding. Listen, I don't know, your statement, it's real easy to spot a fake box in Canada. Well, you know, here's the thing. It probably would be for the fact that, let's say you've been a cigar smoker for a couple of years in Cuba. Let's say you've been a cigar smoker for a couple of years in Canada. You're going to these shops that sell Cuban cigars. You're not really thinking that, oh, I got to watch out for fakes in these. It's just probably really the same like if I go to a shop here and I say, oh, let me see some Padrones. I'm not thinking, oh, these might be fake, you know? So you're looking at all these cigars and you don't have to worry about that. And chances are they are real if you go to a legitimate cigar shop in Canada. You know, being that you're always like that and you're seeing real cigar after real cigar after real cigar and knowing that you have a solid, you know, ground zero, a point of interest right there that you know without a doubt is real, then you'll immediately have something to compare what might be fake to. See, for us, many of us first starting out, people, I remember when I was first starting out, I didn't know what a real fucking box looked like. So not only did I think everything might be fake, but I had nothing to compare the fakes to in order to say, okay, this is real, this is fake. You know what I mean? I had no point of comparison because I didn't know what was real. I've never seen a real box of Cuban cigars. So it's real fucking hard when you're first starting out. Then, when you finally get all the facts together and you know what's real and what's not, you still have to be on your guard all the time because you're ordering online from a lot of people you don't know. That's why it's so important to get a solid recommendation from somebody you trust, somebody with experience. Now, I'm not, you know, fucking patting myself on the back or anything. But what I am saying is I am somebody with experience, and I am somebody that I hope my viewers know would never lead people the wrong way. You know, I'll say it again, I've said it so many times. I will only recommend a site that I've dealt with for a while, time and time again, and rated on a lot more than just whether they have real Cuban cigars or not. They have to have real Cuban cigars. They have to have quality real Cuban cigars. They have to pack them well, ship them well, answer my emails on time, have great customer service, have a guarantee in case something gets lost or confiscated. There's a whole checklist of things that a site has to pass before I will recommend them. And that's why my list is short. I assure you, I've ordered from plenty of sites out there. But there's only a number of sites that I want to actually recommend to people and say, look, this is where you should go. Because the last thing I ever want to do is attach my name to something that goes sour. Just don't, that isn't me. I don't like doing that. I'm very careful with who I tell what and where I associate myself. I guess it just comes with where I grow up and my family and how we are. You keep your personal stuff personal, your friends close, your enemies closer, and always question who you're dealing with, and never put your name into something you have questions about. So that's that. Congratulations. I'm glad you can, spot a fake box. That's great, But you're right. You should feel for us because it's fucked up. It's not by our fault that, we can't obtain the fucking one thing that makes us happy. So there's that. Okay, let's get into a few more before my nub expires. David Turlington. David, would you please enable your fucking comments thing? This guy, he's always leaving comments, and then I can't reply to you. I cannot reply to you. Do you hear me? I can't reply to you, man. The only thing I can do is go like @David Turlington, and I have to go all the way back into the video and everything, so I'm putting you on here so you're aware of that. I'm sure you probably are. Anyway, in the Tatuaje Corona Gorda episode, you said, got me drooling. By the way, part 1 of this really should be labeled Cohiba Follow-Up. Well, I'm glad it got you drooling. Go out and get some. They're really good. They really are. As for part 1 being Cohiba Follow-Up, well, I did talk about the Cohiba episode. This is a continuous show, so we do often comment in the beginning on what we did last. And yeah, I spent about, I think, I looked at it again after you said that, and right after 5 minutes, or 5:19 or something, that was the last I mentioned of it. And the episode's 20 minutes long. So the other 15 minutes, we go into the jar, we have pictures of the jar, we open the jar, we get all the way up to the pre-draw, in fact. So part 1 is a lot more than just Cohiba Follow-Up. I don't know if you were watching and you saw me talking about Cohiba, and then you went, oh, okay, click, go to part 2. It's not Cohiba Follow-Up, man. It's Cohiba Follow-Up leading into Tatuaje Black for the next 15 minutes, 75% of the episode. Anyway, you see? Nub went out. God damn it. I knew it. I knew I was going to get into this situation. It's a big cigar, and I slobbered all over it. And remember what I said about I never use a torch? I also should have mentioned that I use matches to light, and I usually use torches to relight. Especially at the nub. There's no way I'm going to sit here with a fucking match. That's why they made torches, my friend. So, Ken Brenai. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, but this is about the Tatuaje Corona Gorda again. This cigar blew me away, my first Tatuaje, and I'm hooked. That's awesome. I'm glad you got to smoke it. I'm wondering if you smoked it while watching the review, or if you went out and got it after the review, or you already smoked it and just wanted to comment about it. Blew me away too. It was a great cigar. I thought it was a really, really good, one of the best full-body Nicaraguan cigars I've smoked in quite a while, or new full-body Nicaraguan cigars I've smoked in quite a while. Very, very good. So let's see what else. Vito Cheech again, NYHC. Cohiba. Hey Joe, that was a great episode. You're dead on in your speculations, and the truth will come out one day. Again, like I said, I have a lot of people coming back who actually watched the episode about my little Cohiba conspiracy theory, and I really like getting feedback about this, If anybody has any further ideas or details to add to it, that would be great, because as you can see, we're trying to compile a story and see how far we can actually get with the truth. Anybody out there with any facts at all, please do. And, if you're listening, Fidel, you're welcome, more than welcome to come on the show and, have a chat. Can you imagine? That would be fucking pretty cool. Alright. Ebb and Flow MD, Cohiba episode. What the hell did I write here? Oh, hey Joe, love the series, love this brand. I just watched while smoking a Robusto of my own. It was funny when you described your taste change. It was almost the same time for me. Best cigar site there is on YouTube, hands down. Cool, man. I'm glad you feel that way, and that's what it's all about. I love that. You know, watching the show is one thing, and that's great. I think the ultimate experience is watching the show while smoking the same cigar, you know? And like I said in the past a while ago, I wanted to try to let people know what I was going to smoke further ahead of time. I see more people had a chance with the Tatuaje Black, and that's probably as they knew it was coming. For that reason, I'll make announcements. I want to say, you know what, from now on I keep not doing it. In the discussion section, where I make my little announcements, because I don't know where else to put them, I will put what I'm smoking next as soon as I know. That way people can have the cigar ready if they want to follow along. I know now that our next non-Cuban cigar is going to be the My Father Flor de Antilles, because I want to see what all the fuss is about. A lot of people say that cigar is great. And believe it or not, I haven't gotten a chance to try it yet. It happens so much. I got my head so far into Cuban cigars. Anyway, a couple more. We are running out of cigar. Paul Lumbo. Really enjoyed your history lesson. What was the... Oh, this is about when in the discussion section I left a whole little thing about me. About my experience growing up and getting into cigars, as somebody had asked when was my first cigar and why and all that stuff. So Paul responded to that and said, really enjoyed your history lesson. What was the shop's name and where was it located? The shop that I used to work at. I would not do business with a bank that forced you out. Haha. What I said was, yeah, the shop was forced to close due to the lease being tripled, and now there stands a bank. The funny thing is, before the bank, the shop closed. It was actually bought by a hamburger joint. Just what fucking we need, another hamburger joint. Anyway, they failed within a month or something, and then a bank is there. I know a bank is there because somebody told me. I do not know which bank. Then he goes on a second comment. P.S. Just wondering if I ever visited your shop. Whenever I come past a new shop, I almost always stop in. And, Paul, you really want to know where I fucking work, don't you? If I wanted, you know, I'm up in the air about it, you know? For me, like I just got done saying about, you know, personal stuff, it's really not personal, but people tend to forget this whole thing I'm doing here, Cuban cigars, blah, 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 you know? And it's not that, like, yeah, as if they couldn't fucking find me. But the less open I am about pinpointing my location and everything I feel for now, the better, you know? When we get together and smoke a cigar, you already know where I am, Paul, because we talked, and we said we're going to sit down and smoke a cigar together, and I'll be glad to answer your questions then. A lot of people watch these videos. We're coming up on 700 subscribers, and those are just the people who subscribe. So I really don't want everybody in the world knowing where I used to work, because then you know exactly pretty much where I am, and I just don't need it, you know? I just don't need it. I just don't need it. One day, when I feel comfortable enough or whatever, I get in one of those moods and I'll just say, ah, fuck it, I'll tell everybody. Let's see, one last thing. We are running out of cigar. I'm at the last little bit of nub here. Where is he? P208WER. So like power 28, P28, P28. Oh, I get it. That's very clever. Alright, this guy has a little avatar with two handguns, okay? So, like a P28, right? This is a Walther. Alright, so this guy says, where are you doing these reviews at? Okay, man. You see, Paul, this is what I'm talking about when I say, you know, watch what you say and, you know, keep your personal shit tight. Dude, I don't know you from a hole in the wall. You've got a picture of nothing but two handguns there, asking me where I'm doing these reviews at? In a nuclear bunker in Area 51, alright? What the fuck do you need to know for? Anyway, keep on watching. If you're a subscriber, glad to have you, but, you know, none of your business. All right? Jesus, with the fucking questions. Which brings me to the end of this. And, you know, I got a lot of people asking me questions now. And as I said at the beginning of the jar video when we did the cigar collectibles on the San Cristobal, people are interested. I got, you know, higher number of subscribers, a lot more emails and comments, and a lot of people want to know. And so I posted a little story about myself in the discussion section. So I'm not going to go over any of those details there. But what I will talk about very briefly is how I got into doing the reviews. Long story short, read that story first so you know some background history if you're interested. And there are 2 times I got into reviews. The first time and this time. And there was about a year off in the middle. The first time was due to the fact that I saw an opportunity. I saw a need for more information on Cuban cigars. There was very little information regarding what's real and what's fake. Just a few things in forums, a few pictures, and mostly a bunch of reviews of people with real Cuban cigars blowing smoke in the camera saying, ha ha ha, look at what I got. So that's that. And that wasn't enough. So I decided to, let's start doing some videos really showing, really going through thoroughly the details. And then came the idea of fake or fine, to do a few sites and this and that. You know, and then came the loss of jobs, cigar shop closing and everything, and no money, no cigars, no videos. And, you know, that was it. I just kind of hung up the towel. I never really wanted to, and I thought many times about doing another video, but I didn't know what to do. I couldn't do any more fake or fine because I couldn't order any more cigars because I had no money. You know, and cigar collectibles could only go so far. There's only so many jars that come out and so many jars and again, I had no money. So it was really dead at that point. And like I say in that little story, I always had this feeling, and I had just associated, I guess, with losing the job, and it was kind of like down and like something gnawing at me, you know, like something I really missed, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. Because I went and I was smoking cigars with friends, you know, not really friends, but people at lounges and by myself at home, and no matter what, cigars would ease that feeling, but it always kind of crept back in. And then there was one day I was smoking a cigar at a lounge, and who walks in? One of the guys I used to work with, actually one of my best friends to this day now, and we start talking and everything, and hey, we're smoking a cigar together, and we start talking about all the cigars we've smoked since the shop closed, and how was this and how was that. And before you know it, it was like a light going off. I realized that that feeling was gone. I was so happy at that moment. And I realized that that's what it was. It was having those conversations with people about cigars. Not just smoking the cigars, but talking about them with people. And we started talking, and he said, yeah, you should get back into the show. I think you could, you know, talk to a lot of people that way. And trust me, let me tell you, after a while, after I've gotten used to this, that camera is a lot of people. And I feel like I'm talking to a lot of people, especially when I'm going back and forth with comments. So that's really cool. But we said, well, what should I do? And he was like, well, do reviews. And I was like, look, I don't know about doing reviews. Because there's just so many fucking people doing reviews out there. And who am I? Why would anybody want to listen to me over somebody else? Why would anybody be interested in my review? And that's what also got to me. It's like, you know what? One reviewer may be a little more knowledgeable or have more of a camera personality or something. So, but everybody chooses somebody else for some reason. You know, maybe one reviewer has a bigger, fancier website. But they're all basically saying the same fucking thing, you know? And there's only so much of that you need. So I was like, I don't want to do that same old fucking thing, you know? And, but I did want to come back and I did want to do something. And I said to myself, all right, let's come back. Let's do a little welcome back video, and we'll do my Upman jar that I never did before. And I'm doing that Upman episode, and during the Upman episode, I start talking about some of Upman's brand history. And then I was like, wow, you know, this is an interesting concept. I could do cigars, and I could talk not just about what I'm tasting and what I'm experiencing with the cigar, but talk more about the company, more about what the cigar represents, where it came from, brand history. And that's pretty much how all these new reviews started. And the reason I came back was because I love talking about cigars, not really because I wanted to do reviews per se. I wanted to talk about cigars whenever I wanted to, you know, and not have to go to a lounge or have to wait for somebody and, you know, to do it on my own terms in my own time. And that's how this all came to be. So I started putting together, when I look back, I really wish, you know, I labeled the first episodes before I realized what was going on. And the show, I never planned it. It just started happening that way. So I was calling them cigar review, cigar review. I really should have called a lot of them brand history, you know, or brand like I would have done Cohiba brand history / Robusto review. Because in the future, once we start covering all these brands, and there is no more brand history left to talk about, we'll have to just start doing reviews from cigars of brands we've already covered without really talking about brand history. But I assure you, there will be no shortage of things cigar related to talk about. You know, there's all sorts of things we can get into. Right now, one of my biggest things I'm working on is my aging episode. And I keep mentioning it, and it is coming, but I want it to be nice. So that will happen very soon. So, to people like Cameron Myers, for instance, another new reviewer coming out onto the scene, no surprise that, you know, you love cigars and you have something within you that you want to go out there and you want to do reviews, you know. But, you know, make them interesting, make them meaningful, make them mean something. You know, don't just, you know, second, third. There's enough of that. There really is. There's just so much of that, you know. And I'm not saying there shouldn't be any of it. There's definitely a place for it, and there are definitely a lot of people out there who are really good at it, and there are some sites I really enjoy going to. But, you know, after a while, it's just like, oh my God, another cigar review, another cigar review. Anyway, that's how I got into it, and that's pretty much all I wanted to say about it. Let's talk about our last third. Pretty much need some time. The depth of the cigar finished progressing at the end of the second third. And once we got into the last third, some spice started coming up and a lot more leathery flavors and a lot of wood. A lot of wood. The sweet flavors dropped off, and to tell you the truth, back toward the nub, the cigar got a little bland, you know? So I would say the last third needs some time at best. The cigar is definitely not 100% ready to smoke. It is smokable. It's enjoyable, but it's not 100% ready to smoke. I would let these sit in the jar for a good 3 years before I touch them. You know, that's just me. If you're dying to smoke them, I'd say let them sit at least for a year and a half. You know, it says September 2013, September 2014, October, November, December, January. Let's say January 2015. We'll come back to these at the earliest and say, okay, let's smoke these. But there really isn't that much to say about the last third beside that. Leather, wood, drop off of sweet flavors, addition of some spice, and power. There was some extra strength, more than I thought would come along at the end of the cigar. I do feel good, definitely enough cigar for me right now, and let's wrap it up. We'll give our final rating. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let's see what we got. Alright, so there we are with our San Cristobal Torreon all smoked up. Decent. Definitely good for a cigar that's in its sick period. But let's take a look at the scores. Appearance, a 1. You all saw it. These are some beautiful cigars. Really, really nice looking. Burn, 0.75. Construction, 0.75. Draw, 0.75. Well, they all get a little off because the draw was a little tight at the beginning. The burn did kind of start going a little wonky on me here and there. So therefore, construction gets a little knocked off. I could have used a little more air on that draw, definitely. Pre-draw flavor, a 0.5. Definitely not bad. Like I said, not intense, but not subtle. Somewhere right in the middle, so is the score. Overall flavor, 1.25. Decent amount of flavor. It was really good. It probably would have got a 1.5 if it didn't flatten out so much at the end. Aroma, 0.5. Nothing fancy. Decent, nice Cuban cigar aroma. A little ammonia through the nose, like I said, so not a 0.75. A little off there. Balance, a 1. Really nice balance. Started out mild. By the end of the first third, I already felt it. Toward the middle, it started picking up, and by the end, it was definitely a straight medium at the least. And because the cigar was so big, I was really feeling it. Complexity, a 0.5, not a very complex cigar yet. Which brings me to my final statement. Definitely a promising cigar. Needs a few good years in the box. And you never know. Final rating, 7.0. And we're looking at a cigar here that you just stick this in the jar, put the jar aside, give it a good 3 or 4 years, you'll either end up with a masterpiece or at the very least a really decent Cuban cigar. I think if that ammonia in the aroma went away and the last third picked up some, juice, didn't flatten out, had some extra flavors in there, maybe a little more punch, like I said before, if that could develop, we'd have a really nice cigar. I was expecting this to be a lot creamier than it was. It was pretty wispy all the way throughout. So, nothing super fantastic, but definitely not a bad cigar. 7.0, and that's that. And that's that for our episode. So I hope you enjoyed. Comments, emails, as always. Have a good week. Don't work too hard. Keep on smoking. Say goodnight, Max.